Hey guys, how's it going?
Welcome everybody
Hi.
to another edition of the Bearded
How's it
Badass
going?
Podcast.
How's it going? It's been a while.
how you
Oh my
doing,
gosh,
man?
it's good to be back.
I know. It's good to be back, right?
Yes.
You can't help it. You're so busy.
All the
All the new
time.
products and everything that's going on
Yes,
here.
if you guys have not had any of the new products, make sure you check us out. Check them out, mountaineerbrand.com.
Absolutely. Well, we've got an awesome guest
Yes,
today.
we do.
I'll let you. You've had a lot more interactions with this young man, so I'm going to let you introduce.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Man, you must have seen him on Instagram, maybe on Facebook, maybe a couple of ads here and there, maybe on YouTube. Well, here we go. Here we go. The drum roll, please, for Rousawn Dozier.
Rousawn Dozier, what's up, buddy?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? I'm geeked to be with y'all.
I am so happy.
With you. I'm seeing all the products in between you. I'm like, listen, I need to come and just grab a bag and start
absolutely.
You do.
Come on by, man, please. That'd be awesome.
Well, you've been a brand ambassador for a while though with us, correct? Yeah. You've been supporting us since way back.
I've been supporting you all because you all have supported me, like from the very beginning, right?
Absolutely.
Like Mr. Mountaineer Eric has been a big supporter of mine, and I mean, I just really fell in love with his heart and his spirit, and because that it manifests its way into the product and the service and what you all do. So I tip my cap to you all. Plus, my wife loves my beard, y'all. What y'all think? Come on, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Product, man.
Yep.
Absolutely. Your beard looks great, actually.
Thank you, man.
It's looking real good, man.
I wish I could take credit, man. It's really y'all's product that had me looking like a wise man from the Bible. So I'll take it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, brother. In your line of work, motivating people and doing the things that you do, that's not a bad look.
No,
that's not a bad look to have. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it,
for
fellas.
sure.
Some days I'm like, man, it's been a day. But then and then I'm scrolling this Rousawn. I'm like, oh yes, let's do this.
All right. So now for those of our listeners and viewers that don't know, you are you're a motivational speaker. Am I correct? You're also an author too. You've written a book? Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm a speaker, keynote speaker. So I do a ton of. I probably do 50 to 70 talks a year for different organizations, nonprofits, corporations around the country. And yes, on top of that, I'm an author as well. I wrote a book a little over a year ago. It's crazy. It launched right during the pandemic. That title, Can I Just Start Over? Leveraging lessons from past hardships to design your ideal future. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there had to be some divine work there for you to come up with that title of that book at that time that it gets released. Come on.
Like people are like, well, how did you know? I'm like, bro, I wish I knew. Like, I'm in the house just like all y'all. But like, there was something like we went back and forth on the title, and I was just like, man, this one just feels right. And who would have known? Like a month later, we'd be in a pandemic that we're still working our way through.
Yeah.
Right.
God, dude. God is on your hat, it's in your heart, and that's the inspiration, man. He gives you guys all
for
that.
sure. So now, how did you actually go about getting into being a motivational speaker? I mean, I know people take like, there are people that actually major in doing stuff like that in college and whatnot. But you personally, how did you get involved in
it? You said major, man. Listen, let me tell you this. This is a short version. I couldn't stomach standing before people to speak for more than 3 or 4 people.
Same.
Like when I was 21, 22 years old, I would literally get nauseous. I couldn't speak. My mouth would get dry. And I was at Marshall University, my wife and I found out, my academic advisor told me, she was like, Rousawn, everything's looking good. You just have a public speaking class to take that's required for your graduation. I said, who are you talking to? Who? She was like, I said, I've done all my work. She said, no, you have to take it. It's a requirement. So I remember walking back from her office to my apartment, told my wife, I said, I think I gotta drop out. I can't do this. Like, there's nothing in me that it's 100 people in the class. The thought of it made me feel like I was gonna pass out. And I remember vividly, she said, you need to take it next semester. And that particular semester, I was taking one of my favorite courses, a Buddhism course. And so it was supposed to be a big test we had at the end of the semester. And my professor was like, how about we just do like a presentation and we talk about what we've learned and how we've grown as individuals.
Man, yes.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I remember going to his office after he said that. I was like, is there an option to take the test? He's like, no one's ever asked me to take a test. You really want to take a test? I said, I would prefer to take the test. He said, how about this? If you're uncomfortable with the presentation aspect, you can come into my office and give the presentation. And so that next week, I went into his office, and he was sitting there barefoot with his German Shepherd.
Yes.
And I had a 20-minute presentation. I gave him this presentation, and he just sat there for like 30 seconds when I was done, didn't say a word. And I was like, yo, was it that bad? And he was like, what a shame. I said, oh my goodness. He said, I think so many people could have benefited from your transparency and your perspective. It's a shame that they won't be able to grow because you refuse to stretch yourself.
Damn.
And it was it wrecked me. It was in that moment I said to myself, I will never allow my lack of wanting to be stretched keep me from being a blessing to somebody else.
Wow.
And so I moved forward. That was when I was 21 years old. Ever since then, man, I've gone deep on trying to encourage people, whether it's through writing or through my words, or just my energy in general. So that's like, the 10,000-foot version of kind of how I became a speaker.
That's awesome.
Wow.
The thing is about motivational speakers now, I've been doing podcasts and whatnot, and I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of years. Yeah. And what I've noticed is motivational speakers are typically motivated themselves from something deep within. You know what I'm saying? It's just something, so many times it's all about having a desire to reach people and motivate them where they are. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your message and what you have to say, but to motivate them to see what people have within themselves. And I'm a huge fan. Come on. I'm old, Rousawn. I'm old. I'm in my 50s.
No.
I remember Tony Robbins when he was a baby face, okay?
Oh, man, that's my guy now. He's one of the godfathers of this thing, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I even hear Tony Robbins and I get chills.
Oh, yeah. He just has that voice, man. It just permeates. It goes through your body and encourages you. But I thank you so much for your kind words, fellas, man. Like I said, it's a joy to be able to do what I do. But when I can connect with guys like you who literally care about other people, you're inquisitive, you just want to make the world a better place doing what you're doing, man, it's always a vibe, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So now because you do everything, like you said, from nonprofits to corporate structure, motivational speaking and stuff like that. What are some of the topics that some of these organizations are reaching out to you to actually come in and talk about? Are there specific topics that are hot right now?
Oh, right now, super hot, right? Like perspective and resilience, right? Because of what we're going through. Now, 2 years ago, it was completely different. We're talking about leadership and best practices. Now we're talking about resilience and perspective and how to operate and overcome, adversity and obstacles. So, the majority of clients I've been working with lately, that's what they say to me. They're like, hey, Rousawn, all we know is that we have another quarter to go before we get through to the end of the year. We're hoping that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. What can you help us with in terms of encouraging our employees and our staff to just take it to another level, because we've been asking so much of them. So resilience and perspective is big right now in my line of work, and that's what I've been talking a lot about.
Wow. I hear you. I would imagine mindset is too. I mean, me personally, as a nutritionist and a trainer, one of the things that I deal with the most with my clients is their mindset. It's not about telling them what to eat. It's not about teaching them how to exercise. It's about reprogramming all of the garbage out of their head that, all these big companies have been feeding us about what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat for so many years. And just boiling it all down to where it's nice and simple. It's protein, carbs, and fats, and all you have to do is put it together right.
Yeah.
And but the worst part of it all is their mindset.
Yeah.
They have people today, it seems to me at least, they have such a defeatist mindset. It's like the race is already lost before the gun goes off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Give up so
and
fast.
I'm sure you deal with a lot of that too.
A whole lot of that, and I mean, you couldn't have hit the nail on the head any better than you did. It's the mindset. My thing that I talk about, our company embodies mindset over everything, and so a lot of people, they like to come to me and they say, hey, I want you to help me do this, and this better. I'm like, that's cool. I'm sure with you being a personal trainer, like, help me.
Mm-hmm.
I need a better bench press. I need more. I need my cardio to get better. I need more strength. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool, but we can't start with the skill set. We have to start with the mindset.
Right.
Because if I start with this skill set, it's going to set you back. It's going to discourage you. It's the thing between
Mm-hmm.
your ears that makes everything go right. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and when I tell people all the time, I want to know what's the quality of your thinking. They're like, what do you mean, Rousawn? I said, what's the quality of your thinking?
Mm.
Because thoughts become things, and your life is going to move in the direction of your most powerful thoughts. So tell me what you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking most often. And to your point, they are not even thinking. People are thinking for them. And so,
Right. That's the point.
so
That's the point. Everybody else is doing the
Mhm.
thinking, and we're just out there like drones being pushed
yep,
back and forth
yep.
because we don't have our own clear,
You gotta teach
solid
them.
game plan and
That is it.
mindset about it.
So
Gotta
you
teach
said
them.
so. What I spend the majority of my time doing is unlearning, helping people unlearn.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Come
Yes.
on, what?" I said, "Listen, I said my son just started using the bathroom by himself a little bit ago.
Oh,
It's not that
congratulations.
yeah, man, woo, we're excited about it, fellas. Like he
Oh
just should be
yes.
able to
Oh yes.
go, get on an airplane and do whatever we need to do, and he can use the bathroom. But
Good.
it wasn't that he already knew how to use the bathroom." Right?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
He was programmed to use it in his diaper. So what we had to
Right.
do is unlearn how to use the
Mm-hmm.
bathroom. So reverse engineer, and that's the same thing I'm telling people. You've been programmed, whether it's through
Yes.
the TV or through social media or whatever it is. Now
Mm-hmm.
you need to rewire your brain so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get the
Mm-hmm.
results that you desire. So mindset, man, is just a set of ideals and beliefs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
who do you
Yeah.
believe you are? What is your philosophy? Not the thing
Mm.
that you heard somebody say that you should be, but what
Yep.
is that thing you feel innately, right? And then what are those
Yep.
goals that you have? And so we break it down really to the studs and then help
Mm-hmm.
them build a
Mm-hmm.
mindset that's going to help them gain the skill sets and be efficient in whatever they do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
100.
It's I see it all the time in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with a man just recently. He was back in February. He had a massive heart attack, and he was severely overweight and all kinds of issues. And he had surgery, and the doctors were taking care of him, the cardiac care units and all this stuff, and they had him doing his cardiac rehab was to just get on a treadmill and walk.
Mm.
Now, regardless of the surgery that they did, that man was going to have to do something about his physicality. Otherwise, he was just going to wind up back in there having more surgery.
Mm.
But just walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes a day wasn't going to get the job
Right.
done. So he starts working with me. I completely changed his diet, and I got him up doing he had like a squat rack and dumbbells and all this stuff in his house,
Mm.
and the doctors wouldn't let him use it.
Mm.
6 weeks into the program, his A1C, which is the markers for diabetes, okay, his
Yep.
A1C had gone from an 11.2 to a 5.6
Mm.
Oh, come
in
on
6
now.
weeks. Movement. But see, people look at movement and exercise just like they do changing their mindset about anything, whether
Mhm.
it's business or politics or religion or whatever. They get focused, they get set in that mindset, and they don't want to move. They don't want to move because they know this lane. They know this lane. They don't want to get in another lane.
Man, that's powerful stuff, and so let me tie that together because you mentioned A1C. I'm gonna talk to you about the A1C in a moment because I got a bad
Mhm.
report myself. But it's about movement, right? We were at the beach last week, and I just spent time just sitting right in silence and solitude, looking at the ocean. And I don't know why this connection was made in my spirit, but as I was watching the waves crash and the tide go back, and it was just continuous cycle of rhythm and movement,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, like why do they call it fresh water? Like my kids were in the water playing and they were getting some in their mouth and their eyes. But then subsequently, about 4 weeks before that, we were at a creek and they couldn't even get in because the creek had bacteria sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, there it is, movement. That's the difference between the two, right?
Mhm.
Because the
Yes.
ocean's constantly moving, cleaning itself. It's always in
Be
flow,
water,
right?
my friend.
Be water, Bruce Lee. Come on now. Whether it's
Yes.
crashing or it's soft, it's always moving. But a creek is
Mhm.
sitting there, and it's that man. When we're sedentary like that as humans, right? What happens is now as we sit, our body's not doing what it needs to. Now the disease sets in. Now negative thought patterns set in. And when you compound all that, you get things like high blood pressure and cancers. But when you just move, and most people are like, well, what do I do? Just do something. Let's move. Let's do something different. Because as we continue to move, we'll become healthier and healthier. But come on, dropping that Bruce Lee line like that, don't get me excited. Be water, my friend. It's moving, right? So then if the water's in the teapot, it becomes the teapot. That is just it right there, man. Moving.
So many people say, well, it takes energy to move. Well, guess what? Movement creates energy. And people don't think about that. Movement creates energy. If you have a boat screwing through the water, it's creating movement. And that movement of the waves is creating energy throughout the whole thing. But it starts with, I heard a quote a long time ago, and it said, if you don't do anything but get up off the couch and walk around your house and come back inside, you lapped everybody that just sat on the couch and did nothing. Move.
100%. And it's all perspective. It's what you just said. A lot of people might
that's
say,
where it ties in.
All I can do is sit here. I can't go run 3 miles. No, but you can take a lap around your house and come back, right? It's about perspective. And then it's like, perspective, you said it. You said movement creates energy. So movement creates a momentum that also creates confidence. So it's like, hold on. This past week, I walked around my house every day. I'm going to go to the track and try to walk around the track once. And before you know it, 6 months later, the same person who sat on the couch is now running a mile or two at a time. Why? Because the movement created momentum, which ultimately created energy and confidence. Oh, man, guys, y'all talking now. Y'all talking guys.
I'm going to throw you one, too. I'm going to throw you one because what you were just saying made me think of something that tied into what Tony Robbins used to say all the time. And now I forgot it, so I'll have to edit this out. Damn, I can't remember. No, I got it. Okay, so that tied in, and it made me think of something that Tony Robbins said. He used to say, emotion is created by motion. Motion affects emotion. If you look at the onslaught of emotional disabilities and all these other things that have come on over the last 40 or 50 years because we don't take care of ourselves as human beings, mind, body, spirit, there's no motion. Our emotions, me personally, if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm depressed or whatever, let me go to the gym and lift weights for a half hour.
Right.
Yep.
I'm cool. I'm good.
Me too.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's all it takes. It's all connected. Everything is connected.
Everything.
Man, it's funny that you mentioned that Tony Robbins quote, which is incredible. And so I have my own little variation of it. And I said, don't allow your mood to dictate your moves. So what will happen a lot of times is people, you said it, you're feeling down, you've realized, hold on, I can snap out of this by moving, going to the gym, doing something. Well, most people would say, well, I don't feel good today, so I won't do anything. And so that compounds so quickly, and it goes from having a bad day to a bad week to a bad month to I'm in a depressed season to like my life is just crashing and burning. But when you don't allow that way you feel to affect the way you flow, you can get back into movement and creating and it's changing your internal vibration too and your frequency.
Absolutely. So now I want to go back and touch on a word that you brought up here a little bit ago, and that's resiliency. That is something else that is sorely lacking in society these days for a number of reasons. But what are some of the most common obstacles that you see in what you do, talking with people and whatnot? What are some of those obstacles that they put up those walls that they put up to say, no, I can't take it anymore, I got to stop? They don't have that bounce back. What are some of those things?
Yeah, sadly, I think a lot of it has to do with they've never been stretched or never been required to overcome an obstacle, or they've never had to use adversity to their advantage. And so when things get hard, they take that as, oh, this isn't the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second.
Right.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so I talked to them. They're like, well, we started a project and, we had 15 people working on it, and then 6 got COVID and then 2 quit. And then we were down to like a handful of people. And I'm like, okay, right? Like, and so what does that have to do with the ultimate goal? Right.
You still have a handful of people.
Yeah.
Like,
the friction is actually the tension. Think about it. Like, we work out, guys, we're fit. Like, there's no way somebody's going to say, I'm about to come bench 405 without first battling through 225 and then 305 and then 365. It's the resistance that actually gets you the results you want. And so I try to articulate. I said, man, when you start feeling that resistance, count it all joy. Say, yes, this is the weight that I needed to ascend to my next level. Because without the weight, if you were to get to that next level, you wouldn't be able to sustain it because it'd be too heavy for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's that resiliency. And we were down in North Carolina at the beach at Kill Devil Hills. I had no idea that that's where the Wright brothers flew the first flight at, right?
Absolutely.
And so we went out to the monument, and they had somebody walking through, a historian breaking everything down. Man, they had failed thousands of times out there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Thousands of times, and I'm so excited. And my wife's like, "Why are you so pumped up?" I said, "Because honestly, had they stopped the first or second time, there would be no monument, there would be no airplanes." And so what I found ironic is it was 21 years after they had the first successful flight. You have planes in the air everywhere carrying people across the country. Because there were a group of people who had the resilience to see something bigger, and they were willing to fail until they got it right? And having that conviction to get it right. But resilience that's the resistance that you need to get to the next level, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, failure in and of itself isn't a bad word, because you can learn from failure. Failure can make you grow. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, and he had a reporter ask him, I know you know this quote, he had a reporter ask him, said, "Mr. Edison, why do you keep trying to make this light bulb when you literally have evidence of 10,000 failed experiments?" He said, "I don't have evidence of 10,000 failed experiments. I have 10,000 examples of how not to make the light bulb."
Think about that.
It's just as simple. It's all perspective. It's all about how you think about things.
It's the power of perspective. How you view what you do determines how you do what you do. Right? Yeah. Because had he viewed that as, "Oh man, I failed," his perspective was, "No, I learned." Right? It wasn't a loss; it was a lesson. It's one step closer to you being able to flick on the light before you go in the bathroom to take a dump. Like, that's the difference. Is my perspective versus your perspective, and his perspective is where his power lied. Like, nope, I learned how not to do it. And so, yeah, man, when you have perspective in a world full of crazy, people are copying crazy. Like, people called him crazy. Meanwhile, he was the only one that was seeing the future. Everybody else is waiting on those who are resilient, innovative, and have powerful perspective. Yeah.
Yep. That's it. I think about, when we have conversations like this, I think about things like, I know you guys have probably seen it too, because it's been everywhere for years. You'll see the meme where there's like a big pot of diamonds in the middle of the ground, and you got one guy that's been digging, and he's this close to breaking through the wall, and he gives up and walks away, and the other guy just keeps on swinging, and he's the one that gets all the treasure. You could look at that and say, "Oh, that's a cartoon and it's cute and the guy got rich and all that stuff," but there's a whole lot more of a message there than it goes much deeper than what people see on the surface.
Just swinging your pick, man. I remember vividly sitting down with Mr. Mountaineer years ago, and I'm looking at your beautiful studio now, all the different products that you and your team have developed, and all he had was a vision and a pick in his hand. And he was just unwilling to put his pick down. Right? He was just going to keep swinging, and so he either hit the diamonds or he died. It makes it so simple when you do that. When you say, "I'm just going to keep swinging my pick," because you never know. You're just one hit away from everything that you want. You're just one strike away from your family living the life that they deserve. You're just one swing away. And I don't know. It's just the pain of regret. To me, is worse than the pain of actually failing. Like, it's regretting because I'm going to go back and sit down and say, "I wonder what would have happened if I would have swung one more time." Right? Wonder what would have happened if I would have. And I'm sorry, I would rather hit an electric line swinging than to have that feeling.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. For me, regret is one of those things. There are a lot of things that I've done in my life I regret. Don't get me wrong. I was not always the best individual. However,
aren't we all?
I learned from my failures, from my mistakes, and became a better person. But when I sit and I think about stuff like that, I imagine, I'm like, okay, well, what would have happened if 20 years ago I hadn't been eating cheeseburgers by the pound and all this other stuff, and I hadn't almost died? What would have happened if all those events hadn't taken place? Was it horrible? Hell yeah, it was horrible. I went into a coma. There was all kinds of crazy stuff that happened. But I look fast forward to everything that's happened since then, and I very easily could have laid in that hospital bed when that doctor told me, "You've got diabetes," and I could have given up. And I was like, "Nope, I'm not giving up.
That's it.
Playtime's over. It's time to go to work." And that's exactly what I did.
That's it.
And that's what people need more of today. I don't know if it's because that we live in a society that, I'm sorry, I might make some people mad saying this, but I'm going to say it. We live in a society where everybody gets a trophy no matter how damn good they are, so nobody has to strive for anything. Nobody has to strive to be better because they know they're getting that blue ribbon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
it's irritating. It's extremely irritating.
Yeah, because going back to it as well, because people don't know how to have that mindset because they give up. Because a lot of people say I can't, and then they literally stop. I'm the person that never said I can't. I always said take that T and carry that cross and walk with it, so that way you can do anything.
There you
go forward no matter where you're going. You keep going forward. But people don't. They're so again wrapped up in the world that they lost themselves in their mind. That's what I do. I do Reiki, but really the mission is love and just love everyone, and that's what we do to boost them up, because again they are lost, but we are found. We're awoke, if you want to say anything. So
there's a million
we just
terms
guide
for it,
them we have to teach them anyway. We're teachers here, and that's what we have to do. We keep lighting the world up, and that's what we should need to do every time.
That's really good. That's really, really good stuff. Both of you guys just dropped some incredible things. I mean, you talk about getting a diagnosis, that you have diabetes. I mean, what you did is you allowed your past, you leveraged your past to be a book and not baggage. And what I mean by that. And so it's your past is just full of lessons, right? And it sucks, but sometimes life experiences is the greatest thing you can have, even when pain is the teacher, right? And so when you utilize it as a book instead of baggage, you can now leverage it to be the best version of yourself, which is what you did, right? And then you're talking about loving people, like loving you. Once you learn how to really love yourself and then you love people, and that's really the best currency you could ever give somebody, is just the amount to lift them up, help them love themselves, and then give them the example because of what you've walked through, and they can see what you've overcome. That's how you really unlock people's minds and ultimately help them become great.
Yeah, exactly. And but going back to Nash's point, it's all about stop letting the world tell you who you need to be.
Right. Thank you.
I'm a 54-year-old bald bearded
badass.
and I'm not as thin as I used to be, but that does not take away my ability to take someone whose health is on the cusp of going downhill and turning their life around by educating them. That doesn't take away my ability to pour my heart out through a podcast or a blog post or something like that, or working with some of these clients that I work with. Rousawn, I coach clients in 8 different countries right now.
Wow.
I'm coaching people all over the world, and that's my dream. And if I could afford to do it for free, I would, because that's all I want to do is help people.
One day.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man.
And I think okay. I'll edit that part out too. Tongue got wrapped around my eye teeth. I couldn't see a word I was saying. When you look at the way things are now, especially since COVID, people have gotten even more closed off than they were pre-COVID, I think. I mean, before COVID, we were like in the height of everybody being social. I mean, you got 6-year-old kids having Facebook accounts and stuff like that. Everybody's out there everywhere putting themselves out there. But yet today we're more closed off than ever. And that's mindset. That's changing. That's reprogramming how people think. That's what needs to be done. And that's why we need more people like you and Nash and myself that want to just reach out and say, hey, look, you may have this laser point path that you think this is the only way you can get from point A to point B, but you're wrong. It doesn't have to be that way. Let the journey fit you. Right. Don't try to make yourself fit the journey. Make the journey fit you.
Everyone's saying the race has to be run, but you can actually walk the race and you can enjoy everything around you.
If you cross that finish line, it don't matter.
Right.
That's the point.
We're mind, body, and soul.
Seriously, like that's such a good point. It's like people will base their pace on someone else, right? My pace is different. Your all's pace is different. But I think as long as you're heading toward the destiny and your goals and your dreams and you're happy, your pace is your pace, right? So the world's going to tell. Why take advice from people who are miserable? Because most I tell people that all the time. I said, man, honestly, I don't. It's easy to take advice from people, sure, but I only take advice from people who are doing what I want to do and as happy as I want to be. Like you have to be both for those things, and it's like there's people without any peace telling me how to have peace. You can't tell me that. You don't have peace, right? You don't have joy, and so like you said, like John, you were like, man, and Nash, both of you said, don't let the world trick you into doing what the world does, because we're spiritual animals, we're spirits, we're not even of this world. So I'm tapped into a higher frequency for my guidance, right? And so I'm going to move how I move. And that's just what it's going to be, man. And it alleviates a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and a lot of pressure that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
For sure.
That was good.
Real quick, I'm gonna hit you with what might be a stumper, but we're gonna try it anyway. Has there ever been one person that has been to any of the talks that you have been a speaker at that has reached out to you after the fact, either like via email or phone call or whatever, and say, hey, look, my name's Jim, and I was just a little guy sitting back here in the corner where you were doing a speech, and you were like 40 minutes in, and you just there was a string of words that came out of your mouth that just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it changed my life. Have you ever had anything like that happen to you?
Man, I'm telling you, John, it is you mentioned like you would do it for free if you could, right? And those are the types of things that like, that is all the currency and all the payment I need for what I do, is knowing that your passion and the thing that you love so much is actually being used to help someone else. And so not only did I get that type of feedback, man, there was a young lady who wrote one of the most powerful books I'd ever read in my life. She sent me a book, and she says, you inspired me to write this book. You don't know me. I heard you speak, but you inspired me. And so not only that, the compound effect of the inspiration is that women are changing their lives based on what she penned. Yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness, a small seed of something I said, sprouted something on the inside of her. She's so fruitful right now. And she's doing the same thing for other people. So I'm like, back to just being good people.
Connected.
Back to just doing what doing what you're supposed to do. And it's like, people, how can I make the world a better place? One interaction at a time, man. One person at a time, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, man. Yep.
That's it. It's funny that you mentioned that right there at the end, because when I'll tell you the quick background on how I started T2 Nutrition and Wellness. I was sitting around waiting for knee replacement surgery, and I was watching a podcast on YouTube or something, and a guy named Mark Sisson, he's the guy that started Primal Kitchen. Okay.
Yeah.
He was on, I believe it was Tom Bilyeu's show, the guy that created Quest Nutrition. But anyway,
Impact Theory.
Impact Theory. But they were sitting back and forth, and they were talking, and Tom asking me, he's like, Mark, why because I think he was like almost 60 when he started Primal Kitchen or something like that. He was way up there in age. And he said, why at that age would you go out on a limb and try to start a business like that? And he was like, Tom, I saw a need. He said, if you stop to think about it, if you find the world's biggest problem or the world's biggest need, not only do you get presented with the biggest opportunity to help as many people as possible, but it's also good business. You've got a good business opportunity there. And I immediately picked up my phone and I was like, hey, Google, how many people in the world today have type 2 diabetes? 280 million people. Okay, that sounds like a need to me.
75.
Went to GoDaddy, got the domain, built the website, got the business license, went to school, got all my certifications. T2 Nutrition was born.
I love it, man. You know what, man? Thank you for sharing that, John, because Earl Nightingale says, your riches and your success is directly connected to your ability, to your amount of contribution, right? To your level of contribution. And so it's like a lot of people want success and they want wealth and they want impact, but then they don't want to contribute anything. And you can't have those things without a level of contribution. And the way you contribute is to do exactly what you said, solve problems. What's the problem? Let me solve the problem. Why is Thomas Edison's family always, they're going to be billionaires forever? Because he solved one of the greatest problems ever. Why are the Wright brothers solving problems? Problem solving. Steve Jobs and Apple, I'm solving problems. Right? And that's what, come on, Mountaineer brand. Why? Because like there are people who are like, man, putting things in my face and in my hair that just aren't organic. They're not good for me. And I want you're solving problems, right? And that's why you're blessed.
Sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yep. And that stuff right there that you had in your hand will solve some problems.
Yeah,
quick.
you're telling me.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I'm gonna tell you a little secret, and Eric might say, John, you shouldn't have said that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I gotta stop using the beard growth serum. My shit is getting so thick that like the cactus brush won't brush it out in the morning. I gotta take like one of them old paddle brushes, like the old granny brushes with the things with the knobs sticking on the top, and that's what I gotta do to get my beard straight when I get up out of bed, and then go to product. So I literally have to stop using it. I'm only gonna use it like twice a week now.
Dude, it's a real thing, and there's men that can't grow beards out in the world right now. They're like, man, I wish I had something. This thing will solve your problem. Trust me. And it's not only do I use it, like I have put so many people onto it that are having the same experience as you, John. Like, hold up, bro, I've been using this thing for like 4 months. I've never been able to grow my beard on like the left side. It's always been patchy, and now it's thick. I'm like, I told you, bro. It solves your problem, man.
No.
Look, my wife actually came home from work the other day. She asked me, she said, honey, I got a question. I said, what's that? She said, do you know that beard growth serum that you put in your beard? I said, yeah. She said, well, I've got a friend at work that's older and she's thinning. She said, would that work to help her grow hair? I said, well, you know what? Here's a derma roller and here's a bottle of it. You take that and you give it to her and tell her to try it. It's not going to hurt. That's for daggone sure.
Definitely not going to hurt. That's the point.
See my hair? See these locks?
So I'm going to be, I was going to say.
I do the locks all the time.
Nash's hair is growing like weeds over there.
Wow, man. I might need to put some on. I never thought about that. Put some around my hairline down the front and see what happens.
Oh,
man.
yeah. See, I couldn't. There ain't no way. The front of my head. Look, when I shaved my head bald, I was looking like a pencil with the eraser bit off. It was bad. I mean, my forehead stopped right about here, and to make it worse. At the height of this monstrosity, I had hair down to my shoulders. So it was like, boom. And then finally, and it was like, I took this job in corporate, which I hate corporate stuff, but I took this job in corporate, so I cut the hair off. So here I had this patch of hair that went from here to here. Oh, man. And I kept looking at it every morning. I get up and I look at it, and I'm like, I just don't like this. So one day I took the clippers and went, I came out and I'm not gonna lie, my wife didn't speak to me for like 2 weeks. She was a little upset.
I bet, man.
Now she likes it though. She likes it now.
Oh, yeah, bro. It's a nice look, bro. It's a masculine look, man.
Yeah, for sure.
If I ever like go bald or anything, I want you guys have seen the kung fu movies where they have like the one braid in the back.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Jet Li style.
Nash gonna be looking like Saturday Night Kung Fu movies. He gonna have that one little braid just coming off the back of his head.
Nobody would mess with you, Nash. That dude
absolutely.
With the one
braid. No, hey,
absolutely
look. There. Yeah, for sure. They would think that he just rolled straight down out of the Himalayas.
Oh, 100%.
from some monastery. He come rolling down through there. They think David Carradine was coming back and the Kung Fu series was starting all over again.
100%. 100%. That's awesome.
That's awesome. This is good. Man. This is good.
We're getting kind of crazy. We better wrangle things back in here because we don't have too much time left. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't already discussed?
Man, I mean, you touched on it. You mentioned the diabetes piece. I had recently I switched life insurance, and the company wanted to come in and they took some blood work, and I felt I was a little heavier than I typically am, but I didn't, no big deal, whatever. It's a pandemic. I hadn't been working out like I did. I was eating some wild stuff, but it's fine. So they get back with me. They're like, "Hey, your A1C levels are high." I'm like, "What do you mean my A1C is high?" It was like a 7. And I'm like, yo, what do you mean? They're like, hey, you're actually right on the borderline between being pre-diabetic and full-blown diabetes, man. They're like,
actually, I don't know who was talking to you, but anything higher than 6, you're diabetic. You're type 2.
Diabetic, right?
And here's the good thing. Here's the good thing, though. Hold on.
Give me some
game. Don't get it twisted, because I'm about to drop a truth bomb on you.
Please do.
Type 2 diabetes is 100% reversible.
Yeah.
100% reversible. Doctors won't tell you that. Doctors will tell you, well, you're diabetic now, so you're going to have to take medication for the rest of your life. Wrong. My A1C when I was diagnosed, when I went into a diabetic coma, was 12.2.
Oh my God.
My A1C today is 5.2.
Come on. Let's
I don't take medication for diabetes. I exercise, I eat right, and I take some supplements. That's it. I make sure that everything else is right, and I don't need any diabetic medicine.
I love it. So that was my point.
We'll talk. You and I'll talk. I'll get you straight.
We got to talk. I want to talk to you a little bit more because the first thing I said, well, first thing I'm not going to do is take medication. I know that's the first thing they're going to say. So I went in, completely changed my diet, got back to exercising. I have actually a doctor's appointment tomorrow. We're going to figure it out and see what my numbers are. But I feel great, lost 20 plus pounds.
Awesome.
And my concept was like, I spent that entire year taking care of everybody except for myself.
Yes.
Right? I was taking care, pouring out, making sure my clients were good, making sure my team was good. And I wasn't taking care of myself. And when I got that diagnosis, I remember, I don't know why I thought about this, being on a plane for the first time with my whole family. I fly all the time, but this past February, we all flew together. And I was on with my 2-year-old son, my 6-year-old daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, and my wife. And I remember the flight attendant saying, in case of a crash landing or an emergency, be sure to place the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I was like, what? There's no way that I'm going to be on this plane and my daughters or my son or my wife needs oxygen and I don't give it to them. But then it hit me in that moment, was like, hold on a second. If I'm not healthy, there's no way that I can help them. Because what's going to end up happening is as I'm trying to help them, I'm going to black out and we're all screwed. And so the self-care component for me lately has been big, like placing the oxygen mask on myself, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, making sure that I'm good so that I can continue to pour out at the level that I want. So, if you're watching this, self-care is the best care. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're selfish for thinking of yourself, right?
That's right.
Because what happens when people make you feel like you're selfish, they're actually trying to take from you. Anybody that really loves you, they want you to have that oxygen mask on. They want you to be full. Absolutely. They want you to be healthy. So, self-care is the best care. But, John, you and I have to chat, brother. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay, so I think normally I ask the guest what your favorite Mountaineer brand product is, but obviously you're really digging the beer.
That's my stuff, man. Without question.
I'm telling you.
That's my good. Every day, and it smells good. Like my wife will notice. She's like, "Are you not wearing your beard oil today?" Like she likes the smell. I'm like, "Hey, now
the smell."
And so, sometimes late night, I'm not even going anywhere. I just put some on just in case I get lucky. I'm like,
my beer's good. I don't need a touch up, but let me just. Oh, dude, see, that's it. These right here. All these new products you got here. This thing right here. This is a balm stick. Yep. That's what that is, brother.
Bomb stick.
Look,
I'm coming by the office this week.
It's like a push pop. Yep. You push it up, and you just
go on the sides.
Oh, say no.
Put it on the side.
Say no more.
And then just work it in.
Oh
yeah, man.
I'm coming through this week. I need some of that, man, because that's the thing. I put it on. I gotta wash my hands, but with that, I'm. Oh yeah.
Especially if you're just doing the late night dab. You just do a little squirt. You can rub it on your chest or something if you want to. You know what I'm saying? That way you got that. Look, that little extra touch. Little extra touch.
I got to thank Mountaineer brand. I've gotten lucky, and I know it's because of my oils, man. So I keep it close.
See that, folks? A little extra dab, a little extra touch.
Mountaineer brand,
guys. Get the job done for you.
Get the job done.
In more ways than one. Just saying. Oh, man. Shoot. All right, brother. Well, look, I don't want to take up any more of your time. It has been awesome to have you here on the show. If you got anything new going on, you read another book, whatever, you just want to come back and chew the fat, you let us know. We'll have you on and we'll do another one. You're an awesome individual. Been following you for a long time. Looking forward to many, many great things from you, my friend.
Absolutely, guys, man. It's a blessing. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for guarding it and protecting it and allowing me to come in and just, have a few minutes with you guys. It's really made my day. So thank you. Looking forward to seeing all that you all continue to do. Appreciate you.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, one final thing. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and whatnot. I'm gonna put it in the show notes too, but that way for people who are listening to audio.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at Rousawn Dozier. ROUSAWNDOZIER. I would love to connect with you. If anything resonated with you from the show, let me know and we can chat and connect. But man, thank you for watching this show, man, and thank you for supporting Mountaineer brand. They're awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm a big supporter myself.
All right, brother. We sure do appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, guys. That's going to do it
Take
for this
care.
episode of the Bearded Bad Bad. Blah, 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 blah. I'll get it out, man. I'm telling you. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bearded Badass podcast. We'll catch y'all next time around. Be safe. Stay bearded. Be a badass. It's all good. See you later. Bye.